Hello there and welcome to The Standpoint. Today I have one of my favorite young ladies as my guest, amazing young lady. She was on our screens for a while and then she moved on. She's very active on social media. They call her names. She's had her fair share, but behind the scenes you'll be amazed what she's doing. We'll hear her. She's simply, I like to call her Rasheeda. Rasheeda Adams is my guest today, and we'll get to know her one-on-one and what she's doing when it comes to real estate in Ghana and women, combining her two passions together, feminism and real estate. Well, I say she's not correct, but we'll find out how correct she is today. Well, let me say thank you to GTP for my cloth. My dress was made for me by Brie Redua. Again, thanks to Inshilo for my hair. And makeup by @Iam_JCloud. I'm so excited about my guest today, so I won't take too much of your time. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll meet her. You definitely will not leave this program the same. You'll be set and ready for the rest of the year 2021. We'll be back. Welcome back to The Standpoint. Well, if you missed the intro, today my guest is Rasheeda Adams, the amazing young woman who believes everything women, she can even decide to buy things she doesn't need because it's being sold by a woman. That's how crazily in love she is with everything, womanhood and the gender, pushing the gender agenda. But let me say thank you to our sponsors. That's GTP and, of course, Esseron Balloons and Accessories. Everything balloons and accessories. Just get in touch with them and they will sort you out. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. And, hey, she's got the right stuff for you. So get in touch. Well, my guest today is Rasheeda Adams. She is a feminist. She is a real estate entrepreneur. She is a broadcaster, she is a mother, and she is everything womanhood. Welcome to The Standpoint, Rash.
Thank you very much for having me.
Too long in coming, but finally here.
Too long in inviting.
Happy New Year.
Here. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
So how did you make the transition from broadcasting to real estate?
Oh, well, I always tell people I basically grew up in a market, so selling anything has never really been a challenge for me. Like,
how do you mean by you grew up in the market?
I mean, because I always went with my mother to the market, and even when I was young, most of all my siblings, they would want to do other things, but I just wanted to go to the shop because I really liked the whole idea of you use 1 cedi to buy something,
right.
You sell it for 2 cedis, you make a profit, and all you have to do is really sell. You understand? So I really like the whole system. I like the concept. I like commerce, I think, in general. So I went into the media, actually. The reason why I started working in the media at Metro was because I wanted to start a production company. For the longest time, when I was watching, the likes of you and all the other presenters on TV, before I thought journalism was just reading the news. So every time they asked me, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be a news reader. Oh, that's what I used to say. A news reader. And, I was in school in Abuja for a while. And then when I came back, I was just, I didn't know what to do. You know that thing where sometimes you just don't know what direction you wanted to go. So I thought, well, I've always wanted to be in the media. So I went to Metro TV and then I applied for a job there. No, I actually didn't. I just went and then I went to see Alassane Haruna.
Okay.
And then he just let me in and asked what I wanted. I said, oh, I want a job. He's like, just like that. He said, yeah, just like that. He said, well, have you done this before? I said, absolutely not. He said, well, but can you do it? I said, yeah. I mean, how hard is it to read? I mean, right?
I like that.
Just read it. So he had, there was this long table, right? And he was at the other side of it. And he just, does this thing where they just push, he pushed this newspaper
to you.
My direction. I was like, read it. So I just read it normal reading. I wasn't even looking, trying to look at whether there's an imaginary camera or anything like that. I just read it. And he just burst out laughing. He said, no, that is not how it works. And then, but then, you know, we had a conversation and he basically said, oh, well, there's no space, but I really like your tenacity. I think you would do well in this job. So I started working at Metro. I mean, the salary was, you know, but it was, I think with media, it's more about passion.
Especially for a young woman who, from early ages, understood what it means to sell.
And I had been working. Even while I was in school, I had been working. I had been an assistant to Ben Bruce at Silverbird in Abuja. I had basically, you know, I had worked in a construction company even at the time. At the time, a friend of mine had a construction company, and he would usually just, you know, send me out to do some of the markets. And I was quite young, actually. I was about 18. But I always looked like this, even when I was, you know, when you're tall.
Right.
And, you know, I've always been quite mature for my age because I read a lot.
Okay.
But basically, before I came back to Accra, I had already worked for a while, and I had gotten good money. I knew what, even before I went to work at Metro, I had my car, I had my apartment and all that. So it wasn't really about the salary. It really wasn't. Like, a lot of people wondered why I was there, but I was there to learn production. So when I came back, I thought, how do I start production if I don't even know any camera people? I don't even know any directors. I don't know any producers. I don't even know how this thing works. Of course, you can always DIY your way around it. You can always watch, you know, Google and watch YouTube videos. But still, you want to be in the system so that you can get the experience. So I started working at Metro. And, you know, I stayed there for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And when I thought I had gathered the requisite experience, I then set off to start a production company. And that's
after 1.5 years.
Another day. Yes, I think it was about 1.5, 2 years.
Rasheeda, were you born confident?
Not at all. In fact, I didn't used to talk at all. You know, most people would see my siblings and they're like, or, you know, that's your mute sister. Where is she? You know, because I was always reading, okay? I would be walking on the street and I would be reading because the things inside books were more interesting to me than people and my general surroundings. So it was a good escape. I didn't used to talk much at all. I got bored easily. And so, you know, books were very good for me, a very great escape. So I read about things, but I wasn't, in fact, I didn't go anywhere. I had no friends. I was just that child that was always in the corner. So confidence, zero, like never had it. I knew that it wasn't that I wasn't confident. It was more like I just didn't like people and I didn't like talking much, you know. So, and you know, in Ghana, you know, being quiet is considered a virtue.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Like if you're someone who
oh, she's a lady.
You know, she's a lady.
Yes, she doesn't talk much.
She
doesn't.
Oh, she doesn't. She's very calm, collected.
Yeah.
You know, so even at a young age, my mother is a lot like me, like the now me. You know, my mother is very vivacious. She's awesome, and you know, so it's very easy when you have a mother like that to sort of just, you know, crouch behind her because she's so, you know, bright. And so after a while, I was just, and I saw how people reacted towards my mother, like she was a bit too much. Like I usually, when people are interacting with others, I don't watch, you know, I always look at, you know, especially with someone I know, I look at the other person to see how they react towards the person. And I always saw, like, people always felt she's a bit too much, you know, a bit too loud, a bit too, you know, a bit too, you know, a bit too everything. And I saw that, and so it made me sort of recoil. It's like, how can somebody be this amazing and you think she's too much, you know?
So what snapped?
When I went to Nigeria.
Nigeria did it.
Oh my God, I love those people. I mean, you know, they're good ones. And luckily for me, when I went to Abuja, when I went to Nigeria, I didn't go to the hard part. I went to Abuja. I went to the Dadabi part of Abuja. And I got a nice Dadabi job and I had nice Dadabi friends. So it was like really...
Did you grow up at Dadabi?
Not at all. Okay, not at
be
all.
Honest.
No,
okay, you grew up at Mama B.
I'm my mother's daughter.
Okay.
That much is... Okay. But nothing like those silver spoons in your mouth. My mother is just a very hard-working person. And if you work hard, you can take care of your children. That's just, you know, you take them to good schools, you know, you make sure they have everything they need. That's it. So we were really comfortable, but I wouldn't go as far as to say, you know, I was privileged or anything like that.
Okay.
You know, so when I went to Nigeria, then I went to Abuja, I noticed, look, people were speaking up, and it was fine. You know?
Yeah.
People were so blunt.
Right.
I was always blunt in my head, but I couldn't, say the thing. So I would think the blunt things, I just couldn't say them because of how people reacted to people who talked, like who said their minds. But then I went to, when I was working in Abuja, small girl, she just come, just say something to you.
Yeah.
And it just, just like,
Uh-huh.
But after a few months, I was like, so I can actually say whatever I
That's
want.
freedom. There is freedom.
There is freedom. And they say whatever is on your mind.
Yeah.
And they are so forceful and so, like, go get it.
Yes.
And
And you own their space.
They own their space.
Yeah.
And they have presence.
Yes.
And they I know it's not all Nigerians,
Yes.
but I think that in comparison, we have been raised to be quiet and just hide a bit.
Right.
It's not virtuous to bring yourself out too much.
Yeah.
Even if someone says, "Oh, Ohineri, you're so beautiful," oh, you can't even say thank you to her. You just be like,
Oh.
you have to act
Yeah.
either surprised or like you have to act modest. You have to act. You can't even say, "I am intelligent." You can't even say, "I've got money." You can't even say, "I'm beautiful."
No.
It's not modest. It's not humble.
Oh, yeah.
But you can say
rude.
that in other places.
They will say it to your face and tell you how rich they are.
They will tell you.
They will tell you
know
how
why?
rich
Do you
they
know
are. Yes, the cars they have,
know?
and they'll just...
And I realized that a lot of the things we don't care about. For example, in Nigeria, like we used to do, when I used to go with my boss to meetings, the person that we go to the meeting, they would insist on walking us to our car. So I always thought it was so weird. Like, why would somebody come all the way from their office, walk you out so you get to your car, and then go back to the office? And it kept happening. So one day I asked my boss, he's like, he's just coming to check out my car.
Your car, yeah.
And I said, but you are bigger than a car. You own, like, corporations. He said, still.
Still, yeah.
They want to see what kind of person they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Are you a person who's too understated? Are you a person who's just the right amount of, understated and overstated? They like, they like people who are.
Yes.
You get that. So when you are in that environment, then you start opening up. Then when they're talking, you start talking. And then you realize that saying the things that are on your mind don't have as much consequence.
Anyway, let me take a short break. When we come, we continue. But before we go, let me provoke you a bit. Would you say you took the Nigerian in you into marriage?
No.
We'll be back. You're watching The Standpoint. I told you you'll love it. This is Rasheeda Adams. Those of you who know her on social media, she is an amazing young woman. I mean, you could talk to her forever, ever. I mean, this is about the second time or third time we are meeting, right?
Yeah.
We're meeting, but, well, let me say thank you to our supporters. That's Royal Drinks and Awake Purified Mineral Water by Casapreco Company Limited. Yep, cleaning services. Thank you so much for, keeping our environment clean. Whatever you're doing, whatever occasion, just call them and they will sort you out. Thank you to House of Food, Auntie Vera. Thank you so much. We take a break. When we come back, we'll look at her again and ask the question, did she take the Nigerian in her, the vivacious, the overconfident, the bold, the assertive Rasheeda Adams into marriage? We'll be back. Welcome back to The Standpoint. Again, I say thank you to Codams, Gifts and Stationery. Valentine's Day is around the corner. All the cards. I still take gift card, Valentine cards. If you get it for me, I'll take it. Okay. And by the way, yesterday was my birthday, 23rd of January, and I was 51 years. Please, I'm still taking gifts, so you can still bring it. Well, I have with me Rasheeda Adams, and we've been talking about growing up and how she became this woman that we see or hear about all the time. She led a few Aluta in 2020. And 2019 caused quite a number of problems for the parliamentarians and, what have you. Yes, that's Rasheeda Adams. But, right, do you remember that campaign you embarked on?
Drop that chamber.
Drop that chamber.
You know, recently when they were, I don't want to say fooling, when they were misbehaving
Really?
on
Okay.
the floor of Parliament, I was just thinking, imagine if we had built this 200 million chamber for them. This is where they would have been playing their kindergarten games, really. You know, like, I think, usually I'm not somebody who is very political.
Right.
Gender is my thing. I am very interested in the status of women in society. I'm interested in the well-being of women. We have been, you know, given a bad hand over and over again. You cannot be a person who believes in social justice without believing that, you know, women should be given some kind of restitution.
Rasheeda, do you think are you an angry person? Are you angry?
Do I look angry? I'm the happiest person in the world. Not at all. I think those are things
not
that
angry
people,
in the negative sense. Are angry. I mean,
not.
about, you know, some of the vices in society, and
I think I'm more sad than angry. You know. Okay.
you are divorced
Oh yes.
with 2 beautiful kids,
Yes.
and you've written quite a lot about divorce and how it is okay to be divorced and to be happy and to get on with your life. This has earned you some tags as being better, being a woman who can't let go of her past or past relationship and is always making references to her, you know, ex-marriage.
I think that that people. Okay, so someone can be watching you right now.
Yeah.
You'd be narrating your story,
Yeah.
maybe about how you beat cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
And they could still find you annoying.
Exactly.
You know, so
Exactly.
I think we need to realize that people's misconceptions, people's thoughts, people's judgments
Right.
are not our problem. You need to understand that these things exist with or
Right.
without you.
Yeah.
If it was you talking about it,
Yeah.
they would still call you bitter. They would
Yes.
still call you angry.
Yeah.
They would still call you all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
So it's not really about me. So people think that I have too thick a skin, like things
Yeah.
don't get to me. They really don't, because I find them ridiculous. If they are ridiculous, they don't, the only things that hurt me are things that are true. Things that I have actually done that I'm ashamed of. That, if you reference that, yes. But
doesn't it get to you sometimes?
Not at
Because you know that this is not what you mean. This is not what you're trying to say. Because let me give you a typical example. Till today, people still say that before I got married, I was telling young people not to get married. I was accused. I was accused of never. But though I never said the same way you are being accused of encouraging women to divorce. But that is not what
No,
you're pushing.
actually, they're actually a bit right on that front. I do encourage people to get divorced if they come and they tell me.
I just can't with this.
No, if you come, okay. I always tell people, then don't come to me with your marital issues. If you come and you tell me, I am pregnant, my husband beat me so much that I have a black eye. I went to the hospital, I had bleeding, but you know, I will just stay like that.
No,
I'll tell you.
that one, yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
If you tell me my husband is emotionally abusing me, my husband is, and those are always the problems that people come to us with. My husband has, you know, whatever, he has not. I will tell you that the only way you can solve this particular problem is not every problem you solve by running away from it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to spouses who make you unhappy, who put you in danger, especially, you need to get away from them. And that is a good step. You know, the moment you get away from them, they no longer have power over you. I know it's easier said than done. And I always tell people,
because sometimes it's when you leave that they become more, you know, dangerous, or they pursue
Some
you,
people,
and then
they can actually kill you.
Yeah.
You know, even months after I would literally be driving and be looking behind. I was always so worried and people would be like, but why are you saying this person is violent? I mean, look at this person. He's walking about. He's normal. Because emotions are not involved. They see you outside, they will smile at you. But, you know, with the people that and people always say, what did you do? What did you do to me?
Exactly.
The person do this to you.
Yeah. They never take your story. They will ask you, what did you do?
They will still ask you, what did you do? And me, I always say something that whatever I'm doing in this world, I do it with clean hands. So that, look, I never ever want to crouch my head when I'm walking. I always want to look straight up, and I always want to make sure that I am on the right side in whatever situation I'm in. When I got married, one of the things I said to myself was, I am somebody who really can't be bothered with.
Were you quite young when you got married?
Yes, I was about 23. But then again, you have to understand the kind of 23 that I was.
Right.
I had been working at that point for about 5 years.
You had your own car, you had your apartment.
I had my life, I had my car, I had my, I had, so that is not young. It's just that I really started life very early because I'm mostly self-educated. So I, I could, even at 17, when other people can't even write a proper essay, I was getting a job and I was actually doing that job. Right. I can't be a little bit spontaneous. So then I can meet someone and just say, I want to marry you. That kind of, not that, but I would know that I want to be with them. And I don't see the point in staying together for so long. And then if you just want to marry the person, just marry the person, right? And I don't think that is the mistake that I made in itself, as much as it was that I made, I did that with someone wrong.
Right.
Because you can meet someone, you could marry them almost immediately, and you would still live together for 50 years. Yeah. I just chose wrong. And I always say, divorce is not a bad thing, it's not a taboo. You chose wrong. Choose a drink. I pick the cola. I say, the cola is bitter. Can I have water instead? That's divorce.
Yes, yeah.
I don't see why we make it this thing, And like as I was saying, when I went into the marriage, I swear to God, I went into it with my cleanest intentions, because at that point, the people that I knew that I could get married to, none of them was Muslim. And my mother, she was very intent on that. And then because I was much younger and much more impressionable and I really wanted to please her, yes, so I did. I picked the person that was nearest a Muslim, but it wasn't, like a great grand love story or anything like that. Right. So it was really just, I'm going to marry this person, I'm going to stay with them, I'm going to make a life, and I'm going to just relax. That's the kind of person I am. When I am in a place that I consider good, nothing else matters. That is my job now. That is my life now. And the kind of life I have, because I'm a very reclusive person, I don't go places, and that is why I find social media such a release, because I can do and say all the things I want to say without having to leave my house. It's a win-win for everyone. So someone like me, when I'm in a marriage, in fact, I am the easiest person to be married to. You leave me here, you come back and meet me in that same chair. You leave me here for 3 days, you come back, I haven't even stepped foot out of the gate. But then you start having issues, like you start seeing that the person wants to control you, which is something that you probably saw earlier on. But
you ignored.
Not ignored, interpreted it differently. If someone is always calling you, always checking up on you, always asking where you are, what does it mean? They care about you. Yeah, but a little more of that then becomes obsessiveness, and then it becomes dangerous as well for you. So I think that a lot of it was more like you meet someone, you don't know just how they can be when they're angry. I think it was just mostly anger. And people, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but people make mistakes, I suppose, and it's fine. Hitting other people is not good. Abuse is not good, Emotionally abusing others is not good. Stunting the growth of others is obviously not good for anyone. But I think that sometimes, in a very, very, very misguided way, they think they love you. They think they, I think that they think...
It's in your interest.
It's in your interest. Yeah. If I say, don't work, stay at home and have a bunch of kids and look after them, I'll go out and I'll bring up money. What's bad about that? But they don't ask you, what do you want? What kind of life do you want? Okay, do you want to be somebody who sits at home looking after kids? Okay, I think you are very smart. I don't think you should be sitting at home looking after kids. That is what marriage should be. You should be pushed to be better, not reduced. I swear to God, at that time, I had no interest in anything that was going on around me because my mind was not even working. I would wake up in the morning, I would, bathe a kid, take it to school, come back, clean up the house, cook. I was the same housewife job that everyone else was doing. And for a little while, I was okay with it because I had a baby. But then after the baby got big enough to go to school, I would start work and then he would come to the workplace. You close at maybe 6. He would get there at 4 and he would come and pack. And, you know, because he's a public figure and everything, even the person you are working for will be like, hey, you know, they'll start feeling nervous, they'll start feeling, before you realize, you know, they'll tell you, oh, this one, you know, and a lot of them is like, they were just, he would say you have to get home by 4, no matter what work you're doing. That was impossible. So it wasn't like the marriage was tumultuous or anything like that. If you take away the physical abuse, which, you know, was very problematic for me because nobody had ever hit me before. Even in school, I was a good student. I was a good everything. I was a good daughter. I was, you know, so I had never had anyone, even my mother, she would hit my other siblings, never touched me because I always did the right thing. I knew my body doesn't like hitting. So I would do the right thing.
To avoid being hit.
To avoid being hit or spoken to in a certain manner. I don't do certain things even out there in society because I don't want to be disrespected. I really, really like being respected.
But was it easy for you to walk out? Knowing the kind of person you were married to, knowing the kind of image you had. Was it easy for you to just walk out?
Okay, emotionally it was easy for me because I had left him in my head years ago. You know, almost.
How long were you married?
About 3.5 years.
Okay.
3 years. Yes. Almost as soon as we got married, I knew I would leave him because I saw all of the you know, the traits. But then I thought, what is living together? Just stay out of each other's way. If the person looks angry, go pass the other way. If the person looks agitated, don't start an argument or don't, you know. So I was always like tiptoeing around him and I don't think that is any way to live. It's like living with a grenade. You know, you're afraid. If you kick the right, you know, if you kick the wrong thing, then everything is going to blow up. And I don't like that kind of instant. I like quiet. I like just generally, you know, I just like stable emotions. You are a happy person. Just be happy. What is wrong with you? Like, why would you just be sitting there all of a sudden, you're angry, you're depressed, you want to beat somebody else? I couldn't understand because I am not that kind of person. Things have to make sense to me. It didn't. Right. And I knew almost immediately that I would leave. But then I thought about it. I said, if I leave now, you know, after about a year, I thought if I leave now, I mean, everyone is going to say it's my fault. You know how everybody thinks it's always the woman's fault? So I'm thinking, you know, at this point, probably even my own family would probably say it's me because I had never told them what was happening. And if you don't tell people, if you tell people, they don't care. Right. But if you don't tell people, when you leave, they act surprised.
Surprised. So why didn't you say anything?
Why didn't you say anything? So at the point of my, in fact, actually, so I did know that, I mean, I don't want to stay in this marriage for a really long time because this will be injurious to my life, actually. Because sometimes you'll be pregnant and he'll still be hitting you. So it was when I went, and the first time I had my first baby, every time I had my children, they have neonatal jaundice, which is normal. I think something to do with my blood, something.
So, I don't know.
I think it's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah.
It's very common.
Yeah,
My
they put them in the
phototherapy.
Yeah. The first time, I did not know. So I thought my daughter was going to die.
Same with me. Right? How I cried.
I was in, and you know, Kolebu, it's this depressing place. It's like everybody, you think everybody is going to die. There's no cots. No. Like, I was just crying morning till evening. Just crying, sitting by the cot. Cot, no crowd, you won't get some. It's full. Sometimes you are holding your baby and she's so yellow. And that time was so emotionally. And you know what I remember about that whole time? Because my baby is fine now, so I don't really remember that. What I do remember is not having a supportive husband at the time. That's all I remember. I remember my mother being there. I remember my fellow ward mothers being there. I remember somebody going to buy.
I know.
I remember, you know, somebody going to buy food, and then they'll come. Are you okay? Do you want us to? Strangers took care of each other, and then you have a spouse who didn't even. He would just show up, just greet, and then he would just be in his car and go away again. Nothing. And I saw. It's not like other people weren't doing it. Yeah. I saw other husbands. There was this woman, she and her husband, they would alternate. She would go home, sleep a bit, eat. The man will look after the kid till she comes back, or the mother will come. The man's mother will come. The man will go you know, like they were alternating. So the woman always looked, even her emotions were more stable than some of the other mothers. Because we had been there for weeks, sitting on a plastic chair, and sitting on a plastic chair continuously after you've just had a baby, it causes something called an organ prolapse. So it means that literally, like your organ could literally descend.
Exactly.
And then when I was done with that, I had to deal with that as well. So all I remember at the time is just, and I always tell people, be careful how you treat people when they are in a bad emotional state. Because they will always remember how you made them feel. If you made them feel good, they'll remember. If you made them feel bad, they'll remember. So just when someone is, you know, mourning or has a sick relative or is ill, and that is why people are always talking about health workers and how they maltreat them. Because on a normal day, you wouldn't care. Nurse, if you insult me, I'll insult you back. Yeah. But when you are sick, you're vulnerable, and someone is treating you like, hey, it's so painful. Yeah. So I remembered that incident from, you know, the first baby. So, and then I thought, okay, maybe, you know, it's normal. Second one, in fact, that one, it was a scheduled C-section. So it wasn't like rushed to labor, anything like scheduled. He was still not around. He was campaigning. That was the moment I realized that when I leave this hospital bed, gigim, that marriage is over. Now I'm just done. And you know, it takes a while. I keep telling people, it takes planning. You realize in the first year of your marriage that you are not happy. You are not going to stay for long.
Let me take a break and come back and look at the planning. Because you know, sometimes this thing, and I get worried about it, when people, I feel that we all don't have the same strengths.
Of course.
So you see some women still in abusive relationships, and then people tag them as being stupid, not being strong, not being confident, not knowing. But it's not that easy for everybody. As you were about to say, it takes planning.
You have to plan. You have to get the money. You have to make sure your family knows about it. You have to make sure you have people.
I'll be back. I'll be back with that. I mean, well, you're watching The Standpoint. Quite revealing, isn't it? If you don't know people's story, don't judge them. You know, we are such peace-loving hypocrites, Ghanaians. So easy for us to judge people. Well, let me say thank you to GTP for my cloth. My dress was made for me by Brie Redua. Thank you so much, Brie, for always sorting me out. My hair by Inshilo GH, and then makeup by @IAM_J Claude. We'll be back. Welcome back to The Standpoint. The Standpoint is sponsored by GTP, Still Timeless, and Eastern Balloons and Accessories. We say thank you to our supporters. That's Royal Drinks and Awake Purified Mineral Water by Casa Preco Company Limited. Kodam's Gift and Stationery Day at Cow Lane. Everything gifts, everything cards, everything, you know, to surprise someone. Just get in touch with them and they will sort you out beautifully. They will wrap and deliver as well if you want them to. Thank you to House of Food for making sure that every week, a week after week, my crew and I are fed beautifully, nicely. Yes, the wache is, right today, I'll give you some of her wache. That's if she brings the wache. Well, Rasheeda, I mean, there's so much we can talk about, but we have just 10 minutes left. I can't believe it. 10 minutes left. Now, what do you want to say to women out there? Young women, women in abusive relationships who are really afraid, being told that it's okay, they should, God will change. I'm going to bring another topic. The men will change, they will settle. I mean, so they should hold on. Decision, the kind of man you want to marry. What have you got to say?
Well, I think, first of all, we must start from the kind of men that we choose. Okay? I do know that we do feel pressured to pick someone, no matter what. We don't have to. You know, all you have to do is just ensure you have some work doing, you can look after yourself. And a lot of us feel like marriage is an escape from having to look after ourselves. But the truth of the matter is, you will still look after yourself anyway. The day your husband comes, he doesn't have it. you still have to look after yourself. What if something happens to him? You still have to look after yourself.
Right.
So let's stop seeing marriage as this escape from, the wilderness thing that we do. Like, we escape and then now we have somebody looking after us. It's not that, because a lot of people get in there and they realize it's not that. Now,
sometimes you get in, then you have to take care of yourself and your
husband.
Yeah.
And some children he has from somewhere else, plus your own children. So I think there's a lot of unrealistic, thoughts that we have about it. But once you are in there and you realize that you can't, I think with this, we always have to leave it to people to decide what is their I can't threshold.
Exactly.
There's always, somebody could see abuse as nothing, not something that is worth living over. Somebody could see infidelity as nothing, not something that is worth going anywhere over. So I think that everybody has their threshold, the threshold of pain they can take before they realize, you know what, this is enough. So I think we should let people get there themselves. I was in that marriage for years. At any point in time, I could have talked about what was happening, but I didn't, because it is timing.
Rasheeda, it was 3.5 years, but you took it seemed to you like it was forever.
No, it was a really long time in my head, because I had never, you have to understand, I had never encountered anything bad in my life, not at all. So, and I've always been, look, I don't know, maybe I'm just too grateful, but I have always felt like everything was so good in my life. And I just expected things to keep being that way. How hard is it to live with someone? Hello, how are you? How was work? Oh, eat food. Oh, how hard is it to live with people?
So that's when you got to know that everybody's not like you.
Exactly. I realized not everybody likes peace. Not everybody likes quiet. Not everybody likes, not fighting, not getting into scuffles. Some people, they live for it. They thrive on it. They live through it. Later, when I was telling a few friends of mine, one of them said, you should have taken some chair and hit the back of his head. That's how me and my husband do. He will hit me with a kitchen chair. I will hit him with a table. I was like, is it a boxing? Are you trying to die? So there are people who are solving it in other ways. They think they're solving it. Nobody's forcing anybody to.
Nobody's judging anyone.
It's hard to be divorced. It's hard to be everything. It's hard to be married. Hard to be divorced. Hard to be poor. Hard to be rich. It's hard to be everything. So choose your hard. That's basically what it is. If you think you can't, all it is that divorce is not a bad word. It's not a dirty word. And I always ask, the anti-divorce people, if you hate divorce so much, right? How the same people that say they hate divorce, those are the same people who tell you that any marriage after your first marriage is not really marriage in the eyes of God. So wait. So you want me to be married? I just didn't like my first marriage. Now I'm married to somebody else. But then you say it's not lawful in the eyes of God. And so what do you want? So I think that people just get a kick out of telling women what to do. And also society benefits from keeping us, like that, keeping us, uncomfortable, with no confidence, with no say, with no, they like putting us in a place that makes it difficult for us to sort of take charge of our own lives. And that is what we need to stop. The only thing you need to take charge of your life is to have a good stream of income. You need money. Is everything. You need enough to look after yourself, enough to look after your kids. For the first few months after divorce, the person, like, he literally hates you for daring to leave him. So chances are school fees, is your job. It took about a year before he even started, and I had to take him to court before he even started, doing one or two things. Now we are okay. Now he's, he has calmed down, and we are okay, because before there was a whole lot of misbehavior. And like I said earlier, I don't countenance disrespect from no matter who it is from. I respect people. I expect people to respect me. Regardless of my age, whatever position I am in, you need to respect me, because I respect you back. So when there is a lot of disrespect, it's difficult to co-parent as well. And that is the thing about divorce. People think once there's divorce, the whole thing is going to pass. Their kids' life are going to change. There is going to be destroyed.
It doesn't have to be
like that.
That
is not how it works. My kids have a better quality of life now because they have two parents who are equally capable. So if for some reason he comes to me tomorrow and says, sorry, this term, the school fees, I can't, I will take it from my pocket and I'll pay. That is the kind of parents, that is the kind of, mother every child should have. A mother who is capable, with or without the other person. A mother who is capable so that in case one day the father is incapacitated in any way, they can step up. Right. It's not a mother who crouches at the feet of her husband, washes his feet, submissive all over the place. They need, maybe that is your idea of being a wife, but being a mother is different. Your children,
being a mother is different.
Your children need to see a strong, unbreakable character. When I left my marriage, my small daughter was 3 months old. 3 months. At that time, I was doing a production. I would go, luckily my mother came and stayed with us for a little while. So, but sometimes she would travel back to Kumasi. If I had something to do, I would carry my child. There was this like car seat thing, put her inside, and she was a God-sent child. God knew what I needed. She didn't cry. She didn't cry at all. She has always been self-sufficient. So she would just stay in the corner there very quietly. Production. Can you imagine a baby being quiet during production? She would just keep quiet and I would just do my work. 3 months postpartum, people were sleeping and wearing white. I was out there grinding because I needed to be able to pay rent. I needed to be able to feed them, eat myself, make sure we have enough for the future, school fees, etc., etc. So there was no time to sit there and be mothering or whatnot. But it all comes together in the end. If you are somebody who doesn't like work, I must say, maybe just stay in your situation like that. Or maybe find some family member who's willing to take you in. Because what everybody is worried when you tell them about your marital problems, even if you are dying, what they are most worried about is, if I tell her to leave now, she becomes my responsibility. She will pick her bag and come and stay in my house, or she would do. So people will not tell you the truth about what you should really do. They'll tell you, oh, it's not. Oh, sit down. Oh, sit down. God will. It's not you they are thinking about.
They're thinking about themselves.
They don't want you and your children to become an additional burden onto them. So the people who are telling you to stay may not always have your best interest at heart. But then it's all up to you. If you think, look, you should be happy. Life should be normal. So go to the beer bars in some of the slums at the end of the day, or just a dancing center or something. You will see people who cannot even afford 3 square meals dancing happily, saying the funniest things, cracking jokes, dancing. Happiness does not come from any one particular thing. Marriage is not the repository of all happiness. Happiness is you, is in you. If you're not a happy person, you can marry Bobokala, you still will not be happy. He would crack all the jokes in the world. Your face will still be like that because you're not happy by yourself. And that is why I get it's very funny to me when people, say all this bitter, and because you're talking about your experiences with marriage and divorce, you're bitter. I always ask them, what do I have to be bitter about? Just tell me. Okay, so some of us are readers and writers innately. And writing is a big form of therapy because we don't take mental health seriously. That is why we are always calling people names when they bring out their stories. Writing is therapeutic. The more I write, the more look, you always think you have forgotten, you have forgiven, there's no more pain until you start talking about something. So when you talk about things, you deal with them, the pain goes away, you move on.
And you help somebody.
And it's not even because you have, you have moved on that you stopped writing, because you are done with your story. It was a story, it's done. What more is there? The people who needed to learn, whatever they needed to learn, they have learned it. If they want to go back and read about they can just go back, on my wall.
On that note, where's the book? When is the book coming out?
Problem is,
when is the last time?
Write books
the last time we spoke, you said you had started.
Because I cannot take one train of thought from the beginning to a logical conclusion. So because of that, writing books is difficult for me. It's not because I can't write. I can write 1 million short stories. So I think I have to do like a book of short stories.
Exactly. Have a compilation of short stories.
That's an idea. You see, people come to your inbox. My life has been changed just because of what you wrote. Because of what you wrote, I now have the confidence to do A, B, and C. Because of what you said, I now know that I'm better than A, B, and C. You need to know the kind of people's lives you're touching. Those your wisdom nuggets that you're always espousing. You need to know. There are people, if you don't post in a day, they will come to your inbox.
But what is happening?
Are you okay? Hey, some of us, you need to post so that we can read. Somebody just comes to your wall to laugh.
Yes.
And it's just be happy.
It's just fine.
You understand that? So we need to realize that writing about our pain doesn't mean we haven't moved on, doesn't mean something hurts us, doesn't mean anything. It just means we are just letting it out. It's like when you have a bad a bad boil.
Right.
They have to prick it,
Right.
let it all out, and then you get, a nice wound which can then heal. So if you're not writing about it, we don't have therapists here. So you have nobody to tell. Now you're not writing about it as well. You probably not even told your own mother the full story. So the pain will still be inside you. But you see, once you write about it, you talk about it, for the last 2 years or so, I haven't even probably mentioned anything to do with marriage or divorce because it was a story and it has ended.
And it has ended. Rasheeda, promise me we'll do this again and we'll talk straightly about women.
To be like 3 hours.
I tell you,
the next
women and real estate, combining your two passions. I mean, we'll have to do that.
I'm going to write a book about. I'm very interested in women owning real estate because one of the biggest issues for women who get stuck in some of these things is, where am I going to go?
Where am I going to live?
And so when your life is good, even if it's a half plot of land in Kaswa, just buy it. Small. You build some 2-bedroom there. You give it to somebody, rent it to somebody. The day things hit the ceiling, you carry your bag, you and your children, where you are going to go and stay. I'm very, very interested in women having property, having good shelter. Because if women are well sheltered, then children are well sheltered. If women are happy, children are happy. If women are successful, children are successful. Not that we can say the same for the other gender, but basically, we need to push women because when women do well, everybody sort of benefits from it. The husbands, the children, everyone, even society, even complete strangers. You have women who go and pick 10 children, come and put them in their house, feeding them. Looking after them. So society benefits when women are doing well. So I'm very interested. I'm actually going to I am actually going to write a book about that. I think that is a train of thought that I can sustain, which is, women just spending a lot of...
Because that's one is about something you're doing that is bringing you money.
Oh, yeah, money.
Rasheeda, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been an eye-opener.
Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely we'll have you back.
Yes,
Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And
Happy New Year too.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. And may we have more Rasheeda Adams, bold, confident, willing to put themselves out there to work hard, to earn a living, to make something for themselves, and be confident about who they are and whose they are, and not being afraid to make decisions that will benefit them and their children. But as for Asimisi, she will get you. We take a break. When we come back, I'll give you a bit of me. If you ask me, I'll tell you that marriage is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful institution. You know why? Because it was created by God. And everything created by God, everything initiated by God, everything set up by God is beautiful and amazing. But remember this. Just as I will endorse everybody to get married, marriage can be something else. Not because the institution is bad, but it takes two people. And the two people who go into this union called marriage can either make it bad or good. Sometimes you just take one person. So yes, marry. 2021, get married. Be happy. Go into it with all your heart, with everything within you. But remember, sometimes things go wrong. Make sure you have a plan B. Make sure you have a plan B. In our local parlance, there's a proverb that says, even as you grow or you plant plantain, make sure you plant the banana too. Because anything can happen. Go in there prepared. Make sure you are ready, emotionally, psychologically, financially, so that no one takes you for granted. Go in there knowing who you are, knowing your self-worth, knowing that if the inevitable happens, you will be okay. Yes, it will be painful. Yes, you'll be broken, but you will be okay. You will be okay. You know, those who talk about divorce is abhorred by God. Divorce is not a good thing. Are the same people who will say that, you know, you're very stupid for staying in a relationship and dying. You can never please human beings. Once upon a time, we had a show on the Standpoint, and the topic was, did God really put the two together? Remember the pastor who stands there to say, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. But did God really put the two of you together? My advice, once you get in there, ask God, I am here. What would you have me do? What can I do with where I am? This marriage that I've come into. But most importantly, make sure you know where you're going. Make sure you understand what you are getting into. You can't get it all right. You can't get all the boxes checked. But I wish you the best. Even as you get prepared to get married in the year 2021, be wise. Be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared. And make sure that you have a plan B. I remain the woman with super crazy faith in God. I know God has got us covered in all things, but He has also given us wisdom. Let's apply it. Thanks for watching. See you same time next week. Bye for now.